Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B-Live, the Money Man, Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. And without any further ado, here they are, the Sports Bros. Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddy Kool, a.k.a. the HOC up in this thing, the head of creative, and welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. If I might sound a little different, I'll tell you why. I'm coming to you live from good old cold Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's right, the cheese steak, the beer steak. That's if y'all like a whole lot of cheese and all different kind of beers. 11 different kind of beers. But I explain the reason why, I'm here later, but it's all good. But just know that I'm alive, I'm well, and there's 3,000 feet of snow outside. But in the words of my co-host, the Almighty B-Live, I digress. And speaking of the devil, I'm joined by the Almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? This be your boy up in the building, and I feel like Eddy Kool, I'm going to blame you because last week it was 70 degrees up here in North Carolina, and now you decided to go to Milwaukee, and now we're on the podcast, and now it's cold here because it's like in the mid-upper 20s, and what a difference a week makes. I'm cold. Yeah. I'll be all right, but, put on that shit, pair of drawers, and we're going to keep it moving. Yes, sir.
Or we could be in Bismarck, North Dakota, where it's negative 10 degrees. I mean,
oh, hell no.
Exactly.
That's not even necessary.
Highly unnecessary. All right, and the other co-host up in this thing with us, the Money Man, Scottie D.
Greetings. It's 45 degrees here in the great state of South Carolina. Go Tigers.
Wow. What? You know what? So let's talk about this real quick. You want
to go and get out of the way, Bill? I want to go and get. Okay, go ahead, get out.
Okay, because the two of y'all getting on my nerves with all this LSU reference and everything.
I said Tigers. That's Clemson. That's Clemson's team.
That's
didn't.
We.
No,
I said go Tigers.
No, you go Tigers.
I had a frog in my throat.
I'm gonna choke you. You freaking keep messing with me. All right, I get it. World, all the listeners out there, I get it. I talk a lot of smack. I understand it. I've been getting beat up all week long because my beloved Clemson Tigers, and I say again, my beloved Clemson Tigers were unsuccessful in their title reign, and hats off to the Fighting Tigers, the Bayou Bengals of LSU, and Coach O and Joe Burrow and all them other cats down in Baton Rouge and all this STDDB and neck and y'all. First of all, I'm gonna say this: why y'all don't care about any of the kids that are attending these games. Y'all don't even care. Then you got Odell Beckham out there just drunk. He is just highly intoxicated on the field, just committing NCAA violations, handing off money to players and everything. Man, like y'all have never been there before. But it's all right. It's all right. You got your three titles. I mean I believe that made your fourth. Congratulations, 15-0. Y'all talking about the greatest ever and blah blah blah. Y'all beat so many top 10 teams and all this stuff, and nobody cares. Get over yourself, because you done lost your entire coaching staff besides Coach O. You done lost your quarterback. You done lost half your defense. You think you're going to be back next year? It ain't going to happen. You heard it from here. You heard it from me first. Clemson will be back, because guess what? Way too early, top 25. Who's favored to win next year? 2020? Yeah, we'll be back again. But I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. One game at a time. We're prepared. Let's get it. All right.
It was a rough night for your boys, B-Live. It was a rough night for your boys.
It was rough. But B-Live, in the words of Marshawn Lynch, take care of your chicken, all right? Take care of your chickens.
Okay, what does that even mean,
Take care of
bruh?
your money.
I understood that, but who coined that? When did that become a thing?
Man, got to be an Oakland thing because I'm like because you know us, we're from the South. And we think of take care of your chicken. That means take care of the chickens that's running around in the damn
The
yard.
actual chicken, right? Actual freaking chickens. I'm like, I listened to that interview and I'm like, what?
Yeah, crazy. Take care of your chicken. Right, we're going to go ahead and get into this here podcast. And, of course, we're going to talk about the 2 conference championship games that went down Sunday night. Just 2 games between 4 teams. First off, we got the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs. We were right. King Derrick Henry didn't have enough firepower, nor did the Titans. They tried to show us a little fight towards the end, but it was a little too late in the late stages of the game as they win 35-24, and they punched their ticket to Super Bowl 54 in Miami. And then the other game, we got the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. So the Packers left the cold and snowy frozen tundra to go to was it Santa Clara, California, and they get turned directly back around to some head hanging and some slow singing as they get fed a hot and fresh ale courtesy of Raheem Mostert and his 220 yards on the ground as the San Francisco 49ers soundly defeat the Green Bay Packers. Fellas, did y'all see that game? The Packers and 49ers?
I did.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that one team showed up and the other one that I think the 49ers were there. I know they were there. The Green Bay Packers, I don't know. I saw that game.
On the next edition of What Happened Wednesday.
I'm telling you, I was like, where?
San Francisco's just a stronger, better team. They have been all year. They've been the best team in the NFC all year. And I thought maybe Aaron Rodgers, during the day, I started getting some feeling. Maybe the Packers can turn this thing around from the first performance. And they just didn't. The better team just beat them down. When Green Bay scored a touchdown in the second half, they cut it to, I forgot, they went for 2 and didn't get it. But had they gotten a defensive stop there and maybe, their offense was starting to click a little bit. Had they gotten a defensive stop there and gotten the ball back, they could have made a game out of it. But they couldn't get a defensive stop. And it was all on the ground. You know how many yards Jimmy G threw for? 77 yards. He completed 6 of 8 passes. That's an Army-Navy game.
So he was he did his best Ryan Tannehill impersonation.
Yeah, they did. They pulled the Tennessee Titans playbook on him, and the musician Mozart was the one that was running the ball down their throats instead of Derrick Henry. It was unbelievable that they couldn't get off the field from the running attack. So if Green Bay couldn't stop them, they certainly didn't deserve to win that game, and they certainly didn't deserve to be in the Super Bowl. I was expecting a little bit better from them. I thought we were going to get a close game. Last year both championship games went into overtime. This year neither game was really ever in doubt. I guess I shouldn't say that. The AFC game was tight early, but the clear 2 best teams are playing in the Super Bowl this year, I think, after what I saw yesterday.
I agree with you. And just going into game planning for the Super Bowl, I got one thing to say for the San Francisco 49ers. Figure out a way to stop Kansas City in the second quarter.
Woo! Yep.
It's insane what Kansas City has done in the second quarter. They were down 24-0 against Houston and scored 28 points and to take the lead at the end of the first half. They were down 17-7 against the Titans and did the same exact thing. I think they ended up being 28-17 going into half. Just it's unreal what they're doing in the second quarter. We all know that Kansas City has a high-powered offense, high-flying offense, et cetera, et cetera. But man,
well, it kind of went how we were talking last week. I remember, I was saying that if Kansas City would get ahead of them, and forced Tennessee kind of out of their game plan of just keeping the ball and grinding Derrick Henry out yard after yard after yard and maintaining time of possession. So if Kansas City could avoid that, then it was definitely going to be in their favor. And early, it looked like Tennessee was executing their game plan. I think they were up, 10-0 or 10-3? I mean, they got up on them early, but once Kansas City got the lead, there was no looking back. And like you said, that second quarter, for the second week in a row, they owned the second quarter, put points up, and then it was their game from then on. They just got stronger as the day went on, and Tennessee had a great run there, but they ran out of steam because they lost to a better team with a superior quarterback.
Right. Yep, I can agree to that too, man. And here it is, fellas, the 54th installment of the Super Bowl in Miami, and I think we're gonna get a good one, man, between Kansas City and the San Francisco 49ers.
But guys, you know what I'm happy about today is the fact that we're talking about the game going forward, not the games that we saw already as far as this matchup. Last year, on this day, all we were talking about was the blown call and the officiating between the Saints and Rams. Yep. And in the Patriots-Chiefs game, we were talking about how the Patriots were done over and Kansas City gave them the free pass and they jumped off sides on a play that didn't matter. Those greatly affected the outcomes of the Super Bowl last year. This year, we don't have any official controversy. The officiating was fine for the most part. When the games are decided by those wide margins, you don't look at officiating. You'd say the better teams won. So that's what I'm kind of glad about is we clearly see the picture of the two best teams this year, I think.
Speaking of controversy and referees from last year, just take a wild guess who's going to be officiating this year's Super Bowl. You guys want to guess?
Ain't no way.
Gene Steratore?
No, the fella that the fella that blew the call in New Orleans last year.
He got the nod, huh?
Yeah, he got the nod.
You got to get it right.
How is that possible? Just I wish I could be that bad at my job, and not.
Well, he's got his backup now. They changed the rules, so now we got the backup. You know how the pass interference officiating has been solved, I guess you could say, with the replay system this year. It's been solved.
It has not, but that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was a little tongue-in-cheek there, but
yeah. But fellas, that's it, man. We got Super Bowl coming up. All right, predictions, scores. What we got?
I'm going to tell you next week.
Next week?
Yeah, I'm going to make everybody live this week waiting. I can't wait to find out what the money man's going to pick. I'm going to make everybody wait.
Oh, I forgot. We got like 14 days of nonstop coverage after this.
Yeah.
Oh, that is right. Yeah. So a little too early for the previews and predictions. I'm excited because it'll be interesting, man. Two teams. We got Patrick Mahomes, the former MVP, and then we got Jimmy G's, Tom Brady's understudy. Ain't this a funny coincidence? There's still a connection between Tom Brady and the Super Bowl by way of Jimmy Garoppolo. Ain't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, and that is it for the conference championship / Super Bowl predictions. Well, not predictions, but the preview to the Super Bowl coming up next week. And also, that was the review of the conference championship games. Moving right along, it's been a hot topic for the last week and some pocket change. The Major League Baseball sign-stealing scandal. I thought the steroids thing was something, but this here sign-stealing thing is crazy. It is nuts. Scottie D, what's your thoughts on it?
Wow, is what I can't believe that it has gotten to this point. It's always been a thing with baseball players where you're trying to figure out the other team's signs and signals. And if you're out on the field and you can do it, fine. That's part of the game. But what this has become is an absolute mess. It's a complete scandal. And at the center of it all is Alex Cora, who was the bench coach for Houston in 2017 when they won the World Series, and the manager of the Red Sox in 2018 when they won the World Series, and the manager of nobody now because he's fired. I have a hard time believing him and his brother both are baseball lifers. You'd think these guys would have a little bit more respect for the game than to out cheat the game the way that's going. Baseball is the one sport, when you just go back through time, through history, there's always been some kind of cheating going on. There's always been something with these guys. The thing about the steroid deal is that was just something that was going on in baseball, where everybody was doing it, and you had guys, hitters that were on steroids going against pitchers on steroids. So I feel like it kind of leveled itself out. It evened itself out somewhat. I mean, it was obviously a ridiculous scandal too, but this is actually tactical cheating where you're using technology. And when I first heard that Altuve might have been wearing electronic devices, I thought, oh, that's even more ridiculous. That's a bit of a stretch. And then I saw the video, and I don't know if you guys have seen this. Have you seen this video after he hit the home run?
Yep.
And he's coming towards home plate, and he's yelling, "Don't pull off my shirt! Don't tear off my shirt!"
I've heard about it.
Yeah,
I've seen that video.
Yeah, and you can see there might possibly be something, up on his shoulder, up like by his collarbone area, where there could be a device in there, and it's very suspect, and maybe he did do that, and that's so bad that's what's going on now, that it has gotten to this point. It's not something you can go back, and baseball can't replay the game. I don't think you can strip the World Series like the NCAA does when they find things like that out. But man, what a dark cloud over the Houston Astros, and that's a team that I thought was very exciting and very fun to watch and very skilled. And now, I got question marks.
Yeah, the resulting for the Astros, AJ Hinch the manager got suspended, then he got fired, and then who was it? The GM?
The GM also.
Yeah, he got suspended, and they fired his ass as well too.
And Alex Cora got fired by the Red Sox, but his official suspension hasn't been handed down yet as of our recording by Major League Baseball. And his could be even bigger because they're doing a full investigation right now of the Red Sox. Cora could be he could be baseball gone. I mean, he might be done for good.
He might be Pete Rose, Shooters Joe Jackson.
He might be. I mean, this is very serious stuff, especially considering that Commissioner Manfred had said before that 2017 season, don't do this anymore. We don't want to hear about this stuff anymore. There was some talk about this kind of thing going on. And I can even remember seeing Chris Sale when he was, he's with the Red Sox now, but he was with the White Sox a few years ago, being completely up in arms. I was watching an ESPN Day game, and he thought somebody was recording him from a center field camera. He was pointing to the stands and all that. And I thought, man, he's being really paranoid. This is ridiculous. But, man, this stuff is going on out there. And I'm sure that it's not limited to just the Astros and Red Sox. I'm sure there's other things going on we haven't heard about yet. But this is the big one right now. This is the World Series winners 2 years in a row that this happened. And it really leaves a bad taste in the fans' mouths because they're thinking Astros need to be stripped of that title. I don't think that'll happen, but man, this is very, very bad for baseball.
What you think, B-Live?
I will answer this with a question. Which is worse right now? Because this is potentially could be two World Series runs that was affected.
Tainted. Asterisk.
Does this rank up there with the 1919 Black Sox scandal?
No, I don't think so, because that was a case where it was just outright fixed.
Right.
With this, you still had to perform. I mean, even if I stand there and tell you I'm going to throw you a fastball, you're still going to have to hit it and hit it where someone isn't. You know what I mean? But you're right that it definitely. I mean, it affected a lot of people. I mean, I remember sitting in a hotel room back in October. I was at a wedding down in Charleston, and I watched that final Yankees game of the season where Aroldis Chapman threw a slider to Altuve. And I can remember thinking, man, that was brilliant. He sat on that slider, and he hit the home run that won them that series. And now I'm like, well, he knew it was coming, probably.
Right.
And I think it definitely affects players as far as, like, if you go back to the 2017 postseason, Yu Darvish from the Rangers was a pretty good pitcher, and the Astros ate him alive. And that affected him with his contract status and everything. The Rangers didn't re-sign him. I think he's with the Cubs now. but it most certainly has affected people. It affects the gambling world. People bet on these games, but the 1919 thing was a scandal in that the players were in on that to fix the World Series. So that was definitely more scandalous than this, in my opinion. But this is scandalous nonetheless.
It ranks up there. Yeah, I don't think it'll top the 1919. I don't think it'll top that one, but it damn sure ranks up there with the.
And
the
that's
19...
what I just want. And the reason why I say that, because I agree with you guys, because it's not as egregious, but the fact that something of this magnitude can be thought about. That's why I wanted to put that sort of in comparison. Right now, and this is what I have to say about this. There are teams that have a legitimate gripe right now. The Los Angeles Dodgers have a legitimate gripe because, easily could have affected the way that series went. The New York Yankees have a legitimate gripe. There are teams out there that work their asses off to get to this point, and just for, I don't know. I want such a statement to be made. I don't think the Astros should be able to hold on to their title. I don't think the Red Sox should be able to hold on to their title. It's always and forever going to be tainted. Nobody's going to look at those titles the same. Yes, they play on the field, etc. Blah, blah. I think it should be that a statement needs to be made. The fact that Pete Rose gambled on the sport and got banned for life. These guys legitimately cheated, got caught cheating, and get banned for a year.
Yeah. That's bad. But the whole deal with Pete Rose is that when he got caught, he signed an agreement. He agreed to be away from baseball he accepted a lifetime ban. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. That's why he can't get back into the game. He's been turned down multiple times, even by this commissioner. But Rose agreed to it. Now, Rose supposedly was only betting on his own team and not fixing games. But going back to the beginning of time when baseball always had a problem with gambling, that's been the biggest no-no in baseball forever. And this is a little different than that. That's why the White Sox thing was big, because that had to do with gambling. Now, this obviously does to an extent, but you're right. If you're a Dodgers player and you're fighting and you're there every year, and these guys are using technology to help beat you, then that's not fair. That's not right. You wait all your life to get to the World Series. Some people never make it, and if that's how you get affected in the end. I remember in that 2018 postseason, Jackie Bradley Jr. was a monster, and he's not been a very good career hitter. So, did he get hot at the right time, or was he just really in tune to what was going on with knowing what pitches are coming?
It's debatable.
Yeah, I don't know, because you got to figure he knew in the regular season too and didn't hit as well in the regular season as the postseason. So there's that. But we're going to find out a lot more about that Red Sox thing, I think, in the next week or two, when when they conclude that investigation.
Yeah, just to give everyone a quick recap, we're talking about the cheating scandal that has shown reared its ugly head in Major League Baseball. A.J. Hinch got suspended, then fired. The general manager of the Houston Astros, he also got the same thing, suspended, then fired. Alex Cora, he was let go by Boston because he was accused of sign stealing during the 2018 World Series run. And guess what? He was on the Astros as a bench coach in 2017. So he was stealing signs for 2 consecutive years from the sounds of it. And one we did mention was Carlos Beltran. He also got fired by the Mets for his involvement. Yeah, for his involvement, because at the time he was playing for the Houston Astros when they won the World Series. And New York said, you know what? We don't even want this in our locker room. And I can't be mad at him for that, man. Sometimes you got to get rid of a problem before it overruns your locker room. As you said, Scottie D, man, these guys play 162 games, so they damn near play 200 plus games in 5, 6 months.
Yeah.
Only to have another team get upper hand on them, and then all that hard work is gone. Think about it: injuries and trades, and hot streaks, cold streaks, and there's a whole lot going on in the world of baseball, man. And I guess like in the words of legendary Ty Cobb, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But I get it, but like it really sullies the sport, in my
It
opinion.
does.
I think it does, and it's no, it's not good.
Yeah,
not good at all. To our listeners, we would like to hear what you think about this whole sign stealing scandal in the world of Major League Baseball. All right, and also not to get overshadowed by the sign stealing scandal in baseball, and also the culmination of the NFL football season via the conference playoffs in lieu to the Super Bowl. UFC 246. They had a lot going on this weekend, and it was highlighted by Conor McGregor and the only Cowboy Dan Cerrone. UFC 246 results. I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't have a chance to see the card at all, but I heard one of the fights was longer than the Instagram story, aka 40 seconds. So, for those of you that watched it between the two co-hosts, what did you see?
Well, when Conor was making his comeback here, he needed an opponent, kind of I would consider to be a tune-up fight before he started getting in with the real bad boys of the sport again. I mean, Conor McGregor has his choice pretty much to bounce for the 170 weight pound division and 155. And Cowboy Cerrone lost his last two fights by knockout. He has the record for most wins in the UFC. He's been around the game a long time. So his name is still a marquee name. He's a name that a lot of people know, and he has a very big following. I mean, Cowboy's a popular fighter, but I don't think any of us really believed he was going to beat Conor McGregor. McGregor needed this fight to get his name back out there, to show he still got it, and to win impressively. And to his credit, he did that. Now that he's got that out of the way, what's next for Conor? That's the bit. That's really what we're getting at here. Is what's next for Conor? Is it going to be Jorge Masvidal? Are they going to put him up in that BMF title fight, or is it going to be Khabib? I mean, there was some really bad blood there a few years ago, and back in 2018, and Khabib beat Conor pretty impressively. I mean, it was never in question really. So, I mean, we could see another Nate Diaz fight. It sounds like Dana White's leading towards getting Conor back in there with Khabib. What I don't want to see, maybe B-Live, you can speak to this. Do we want to see Conor against Floyd Mayweather again?
Absolutely not. No. What? Why would you even say something?
Well, it's being kicked around.
Rumored.
That's why.
I know it's got just no stop.
I'm with you. I don't want to see that again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not like it was a joke the first time, but I mean, this is consumer driven market. I mean, give the people what they want, I guess. I mean, I will say this: just by looking at the fight, the way things are set up, I think it would be Masvidal. They kept cueing the camera back to him, kept cueing the back to him throughout the fight, during the day, and everything like that. So I mean, I think, yeah, Conor is not on a rematch with Khabib level yet. If he beats Masvidal, then yeah. But I think we would have to go through Masvidal to get Khabib. And Floyd, no, we're not. Don't even mention that name. Floyd Mayweather, just do whatever you do now. I don't even know what he does now to make money. He has to be promoting other boxers at this point in time, and I don't know. But yeah.
Well, here's the thing with the Khabib thing. If you get Conor and Khabib back in there together, that's going to be a huge money fight. It'll probably break their pay-per-view records. Khabib is down at 155, whereas Masvidal's up at 170. They can make money with Masvidal, putting him in a title fight against Kamaru Usman, and that's really, I'm not sure why Masvidal's not chomping at the bit for that fight and then Conor afterwards. If he wins the title and then fights Conor, I'm guessing Masvidal knows that right now the iron's hot. So if he fights Conor and loses, he still can go and fight Usman for a title, because that wouldn't affect him as far as the rankings go, probably. I don't know. I think the reason that Dana White's leading towards Khabib is because that's the big money fight, and it is down a weight class. Conor looked pretty big and strong the other night in there, so he'd have to cut some weight to get down to fight Khabib again. But that's part of fighting, and I don't see that being a problem. Sign me up for any of these fights. I want to see Conor against the best of those guys that are in the 155 and 170 weight class. I don't need to see him box. He's not a boxer. We saw that spectacle once. Like you said, it wasn't good the first time. And Mayweather's looking for that one more payday too. I don't want to see any more of that nonsense. Mayweather needs to stay retired and not affect his legacy. What if he would go out there and get caught with a punch and get knocked out? I mean,
I'm laughing.
It would be terrible. It would be terrible. And McGregor wouldn't gain anything for it except, I mean, he'd gain a lot of money, obviously. But, I mean, as far as legacy goes, don't give me that garbage. Give me McGregor and Khabib. Give me McGregor, Masvidal. Get a fight with Colby Covington, one of these other guys, Justin Gaethje. There's a lot of fights out there for Conor. We don't need to see Mayweather. I'm done with that.
My question is this. I quick question. What warrants Conor McGregor to have a title fight?
That's a great question. That's how UFC does. Conor McGregor is ranked number 4 in the 155 weight class. Yet his last fight was in 2018 and he lost that fight. I don't know. It's just like a couple years ago, George St. Pierre came back and fought for a title against Michael Bisping. The UFC, I guess, because if you're a past champion, they let that carry some weight towards the rankings. I don't know. We know it's a money-driven thing. It has to be, but.
And so that's my problem with it right now, because UFC can easily slip into that whole boxing. UFC became popular because it wasn't boxing. Mm-hmm. It was clear cut where boxing was gambling driven. Just what we talking about, gambling in baseball. Boxing was tainted with the whole gambling, fixing fights and stuff like that. Now you're getting to this whole UFC. Now you get ranked higher because you're popular.
Well, on the other side of that coin, though, the UFC, unlike boxing, is giving you the fights that you want. I mean, we want to see Conor McGregor. He's the biggest star in the sport. So if you put him in there for a title fight, it's going to sell. Leon Edwards, he's number 4. He's number 4 in the 170-pound weight class. Nobody even knows who he is. They're both 4. Leon's close to being ready for a title shot, but he doesn't sell fights. He doesn't sell. In the meantime, boxing, it took us, 6 years to see Mayweather and Pacquiao.
Oh, it was.
There was one fight we wanted to see, and they wouldn't give it to us. UFC gives you fights every month. So.
Now, I give you that, but here's the thing: like, you're not going to be able to see the best fighters just because they don't have a big draw. That's where I'm like, these guys are being overshadowed. Like you mentioned, a guy that I've never heard of. He's ranked 4th, and will we ever see him on a main card?
Well,
just because he's not a money
draw?
Well,
he's not marketing himself, but I think he's gonna fight Tyron Woodley. And if he beats Woodley, then he'll probably be in line for a title shot, and then he will be. But I can tell you that pay-per-view won't sell as well as Cowboy versus Conor, 2 guys who neither one had a belt.
Yeah, like you say, you got a case of 2 popular fighters and 2 guys that that can highlight the marquee, and as they say in the wrestling business, put butts in seats or eyeballs on screens and televisions.
But you see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, I do. That boxing, some more deserving fighters can get overlooked. For sure. I get that, yeah.
This is the only sport where popularity drives rankings. Every other sport, you have to earn it. You have to earn it on the court, on the field, in the ring, except for now. I guess this is my way of saying I'm not the biggest Conor McGregor fan. I've never been. I never really saw the draw, but he's always been a good talker behind the mic.
He moves the needle.
And that's it. So it's one of those things where I was never fully impressed with his fighting ability. I mean, he's been a decent striker. I mean, I give him props for being the first person to knock somebody out with their shoulder.
Wow.
Yeah, he did. I mean, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant.
It was, but that, like I've been saying before, though, it's like, is that a testament to Conor McGregor, or is that a testament to Cowboy just being out of his element?
Well, McGregor, I don't think you're giving him quite enough credit. He might not be the best on the ground. Nate Diaz submitted him pretty easily, and Khabib controlled him on the ground. But the thing with Conor is, I mean, he'll talk a good game, and then he goes in there and he does perform. I mean, I remember when he was on the show, The Ultimate Fighter, him and Josie Aldo, and he just ran his mouth that whole season, and I couldn't wait to see Aldo get in there and shut him up. And he beat him in 9 seconds. I mean, Aldo at that point was like an untouchable in the world of UFC. He hadn't lost in years, and Conor went in there and just destroyed him. And then he became the first to simultaneously hold titles in 2 weight classes. That wasn't by accident. That's skill. He's more than just a talker. But he sells the fight and moves the needle. So, he's got me. I see him every day on TV selling tequila or whatever it is, or whiskey. Whiskey. Yeah, he's selling
some form of liquor. Yeah,
yeah, he's selling booze on TV every day.
Proper 12.
So whenever he talks and he says, "I'm going to get in there, I'm going to destroy somebody," I want to see if he can do it. I mean, he's got me.
It was like this. At least he's destroying fighters and not chunking dollies through bus windows, being a thug.
Absolutely, and that was a terrible era for him. That was such a turnoff that a lot of fans were like, I don't even care if I see Conor McGregor again. But this week going into the fight with Cowboy, he was respectful to Cowboy, and I think that worked in his favor. He didn't get a lot of backlash from fans at the event. You didn't hear a whole lot of people booing and ragging on Conor. He got mostly a positive reaction there. So if he does what he's supposed to do, gets in there and fights and mixes it up and sells fights and doesn't do that stupid stuff throwing a dolly through a bus and talking about Khabib heritage and family and all that stuff. He got too far. He got too far off track with all that stuff that was going on.
Yeah, I think I think these recent events, like the past year or so, I think with Conor, somebody probably saw him out. They sat his ass down and said, "Look, you are good at what you do, but you also got to learn how to shut the hell up. All right? It's cool you're doing some of this. A lot of it is a little bit outlandish, a little bit out of the way, but if you just focus on what you got to do, you're going to be just fine." And so, I mean, I think he just had to get a slice of humble pie.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And now he's back on track, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, back on track. And that's been it for UFC 246.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
And thank you once again to the wonderful and lovely Mrs. Button for introducing our favorite segment of the show, like you said. You heard the one machine line. It's the choices of the voices segment, where we let you talk to us. That's right. We let the listeners, we ask y'all the questions, and you talk to us. And speaking of questions, Scottie D, what was this week's question on the choices of the voices segment?
So this week we just kind of left an open-ended question of just asking to share some of your memorable postseason moments or performances. And we did ask you to keep the Super Bowl out of this one, just go regular postseason, because with the Super Bowl coming up, we're going to hit on that going forward. But we're just looking for some good memories, or actually bad memories, coming from the NFL postseason. What did we get there, Eddy Kool?
All right, man, we got a few. We got a little bit. We ain't got a whole lot, but we got just enough. First off, we got our one and only, one of our top fans. I don't care what Facebook says, but one of our top fans, Terrible Pete Talansky, he said, my most memorable playoff moments come more recently when the Giants win the AFC championships in Green Bay, in the bitter cold, and in San Francisco in overtime in 2007 and 2011, when no one expected them to be there. Now, those Giants teams were, it's the classic case of they got hot at the right time of the year and they just rode the wave into the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Yep. And I remember watching that first one. It was so cold in Green Bay. And I remember it to me, I remember that day, it looked like the weather was bothering Brett Favre more than it was bothering Eli Manning, which was crazy to me. But I think that was an overtime game, right?
Yep, it was an overtime game. Yeah. I think a field goal won it, right?
Yeah, that's right. And he's right. Most were not expecting the Giants to win that game.
No, only thing I remember was Brett Favre looking like a rusty old man, and the rosy red cheeks of
Yeah.
Tom Coughlin. But he was happy
Yes.
though.
And I think they still are that way today from that day, from that game.
Yeah, frostbitten and happy though. All right, next up we got Mark Olds. What's going on, Mark? He said one of the most exciting games was the picture that was featured on the Facebook Light page, where we used the picture to describe the moment in the playoffs where Kellen Winslow and the Dolphins and the Chargers in the overtime game. It was like 1,000 degrees down there. It was hot that day.
Well, yeah, it was that was actually, I don't know if you guys remember, I described that game to you a while back when we were talking about the best football games we've ever seen, and that was my choice. That was a divisional game in 1981, and Kellen Winslow kept cramping up, that was they call it the Epic in Miami. It was a fantastic postseason game. I was just a young kid then, and that's how good that game was. That still stands out to me to this day. So that's a good choice there, Mark.
Yeah, great choice. Great choice. All right, we got Uncle Max. He's a little long-winded, but we're going to break it down just a little bit. Okay, so he's going with the worst. The Packers at Seattle for the 2015 NFC Championship. The Packers had the lead. They drove down the field goal to make it 19-7, and then Coach McBLT.
That's Mr. Coach McBLT from the Dallas Cowboys, if you will, sir.
He decides to go conservative on offense and resulting in three downs in a row. On defense, he calls the dogs off. They go to that bend but don't break soft zone defense, and they were allowing big yards at the clip. And Seattle kicks a field goal to punch ticket to the Super Bowl. And he said Coach McRib cost the Packers that game because of his cute game planning.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that. I mean, I remember that game, but I do remember now, reading that response from Max that they did kind of let off the gas a little bit. I remember actually in that game thinking the Packers had this one in the bag.
Yeah, and then it was like, whoopsie, watch this, and went and got real relaxed. And then the classic case, man, if you got a lead, you better hang on to it, because if you don't, the opposing team will make you pay for it. All right, so that's Pete, Mark, and Uncle Max. A little short one this week, short and sweet, but it was very good, very good. Be Live, what is your most memorable playoff moments?
Oh, I've said this numerous times, and I tried my best to find something that matched the magnitude, but I can't because I was there. And it was the 2015 NFC Championship game with my beloved Carolina Panthers. Just being there and just annihilating Arizona, because Arizona was it was a magical year just to be there and just to feel that game and punch our ticket into the Super Bowl only the second time in franchise history, and just the magic and everything around that. And it's such a memorable moment to a lot of Panther fans that it resonates so big to the point where a lot of Panther fans want to move on because they know that we will never, ever have that form of Cam Newton ever again. And it's like the second that he now tries to be a pocket passer and is not as dynamic and is not as electric on the field and everything, they say he's washed up. I'm like, he set the bar was set so high because of a game like that and everything. It's just, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, that's I remember that season in its entirety. I remember the divisional game against Seattle, the championship game against Arizona. Man, it was magical. It was absolutely magical. And it's something that, unfortunately, as a fan, we haven't reached the ultimate prize, but to be so close and just watching that, like, I still believe that Panthers team that year could go down as one of the top teams to have not won a Super Bowl in NFL history.
Because it would be first the Patriots and then us that year?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the year the Patriots went 18-0 and lost to the Giants, that they aforementioned Giants. I think that was 2000. Was that 2000? That was 2007. And then after that, like literally, the Panthers going 17-1, and then losing in the Super Bowl. Like, I didn't even think of it that way until I just said it. We were 17-1.
Yep.
Like that, insanity. And so, man, that championship game and just those games in general that year were just magical to watch. And the fact that we were the number one offense in the league, with our leading receiver being Ted Ginn Jr.
Yeah.
Because at the time, Kevin Benjamin got hurt at the beginning of the
training
season.
camp. Yeah, that's when we had Ted Ginn Jr., Philly Brown, and somebody else.
Right.
Yeah. And Greg Olsen.
But that's what's like. There's no way we would lead the league in offense and go 17-1. But it was magical. It's wonderful. NFC Championship game. I'm still dabbing on them.
On Scottie D, what you got for us?
When I think of some of the most memorable moments in postseason, the Music City Miracle is always a big one.
That's a good one.
I just remember the chaos that surrounded that event as it was happening that day. For me personally, one of the darkest moments to me was the Des Bryant controversy, the catch no catch in Green Bay.
Oh,
that was, even under the letter of the rule, the way it was written that day, I still believe it should have qualified as a catch, because I think he took 3 steps and a stretch for the end zone. That's a football move. Just because it was so fast, they took it off him. But my personal, I'm going to go with something, the Cowboy favorite. To me, this was one of the most exciting plays I've ever witnessed in my life. But in the 92 championship game, the Cowboys were in San Francisco, not favored to win that game. All year it looked like the 49ers were going to the Super Bowl and the Cowboys were a year away. But Jimmy Johnson said, put it in 3-inch print, we're going to go win that game. And the Cowboys took a 24-20 lead with about 4 minutes to go in the game. Or actually, they were up. The 49ers scored a touchdown to cut it to 24-20. And you know how unnerving it is when you're one of those teams, when your team is ahead and the other team scores and they got the momentum, and then you have to figure out, are we going to run the ball and try to take time and give it the ball back? You know, that situation we've all seen our teams in, and that's where we were at. So I'm worried because we're up 24-20, but San Francisco's offense is rolling. And Troy Aikman drops back. Instead of handing off to Emmitt Smith like the whole world thought was going to happen, he stepped back and he threw a slant pass to Alvin Harper that went 70 yards down to the 9-yard line. And, man, I will never forget how exciting it was watching Harper sprint down the field. And 2 plays, scored a touchdown and sealed the deal to go back to the Super Bowl. And that was the first time in my adult life that the Cowboys made it to the Super Bowl. They hadn't been there since Super Bowl 13 when I was just a young kid. But we're thinking, everyone's thinking, the Cowboys have this big offensive line. Emmitt Smith's getting the ball. They're going to try to grind the clock out and get a first down. We know San Francisco is going to use their timeouts and get the ball back. It was a sinking feeling. And when Aikman dropped back and threw that pass to Harper and he connected and just took off down the field, man, most exciting play for me ever. I felt more elation on that play than I did any time during any other Super Bowl play or during a win. That was just incredible to me, and I'll always remember that moment. So that's mine.
That's
what you got there, Eddy Kool?
Oh, man, I got a couple of them. The first one has to be the Marshawn Lynch when Beast Mode was born.
Woo!
Oh, man.
Saints.
Yes, that epic playoff run. I was at my mom's house, chilling. And, it was kind of cold that day. Wasn't feeling too good. I kind of remember, like, everything that happened lead up towards that event. So I'm looking, I'm like, they're about to run the ball again. And then, it was a draw play up the middle. And, okay, bounce 1 off of them. Okay, bounce 2 off of them. Okay, bounce 3. I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, this fool might have a chance. I'm in the house jumping up and down. And my mom's like, boy, what the hell wrong with you? I'm like, mama. I'm like, you got to see this. He just took, Tracy Porter and threw him like twice in 10 yards.
That was crazy run. That was insane.
Yeah, they called it the Beastquake run. And they said that thing like picked up on the Richter scale. And I would imagine, man, I was like, wow, I've never seen nothing like that. No, I watched a lot of football but a run that determined, that epic. That's why still to this day, Beast Mode got a spot in my heart because of that play, like heart driving determination. It's like whenever you think about giving up in life, you got to do two things. Number one, take care of your chicken, and number two, you run like there's no tomorrow. That's one of the most iconic plays in all of the playoffs. I understand, the whole thing with Franco Harris. I get it, fine and dandy, but that play says a lot to me. And also, another great playoff moment was, I've mentioned the NFC Championship game of that year, how we just steamrolled all over the Cardinals. And then Carolina's first run to the Super Bowl, where they beat the Rams on a slant play with Steve Smith. I think it was like overtime or the game towards the end, where he caught that slant or whatever and just took it all the way to the house.
Yeah.
Yes, I was once again, I was in my mama's house, just jumping up and down again. She's like, "Boy, what the hell wrong with you?" I'm like, "Mama, look, he's running the ball. He got it. He caught the ball." And I think we were going to the that was a divisional round that let us go to the conference championship, and we eventually wound up going to the Super Bowl. Yep. So those are my two fondest moments. Hey, Steve Smith catching that pass and taking it to the house, and Marshawn Lynch just being a beast, being a beast that he is. All right.
And that was that same St. Louis team back in 2003 that just went to the Super Bowl the year before, and that was still pieces of the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
Like that St. Louis team was ridiculous.
Yeah, Carolina wasn't supposed to win that game.
Nope, we were not supposed to win it, but we went into the Trans World Dome and poked all the air out there.
Yeah, good call on that, Eddie.
Agent 89, baby.
Good call. Good call on that.
Yeah, he did it. He did that. So we're going to give a shout out to Pete, Mark, and Uncle Max for their participation in the Choices of the Voices segment. Remember, you can participate in the Choices of the Voices segment too. Just keep your eyes peeled on the Facebook Live page or any of our individual Facebook pages, and you'll see the question posed by the money man, Scottie D, for Choices of the Voices. And with that being said, what's the question for next week, Scottie D?
Well, I have a feeling a lot more you're going to want to chime in on this one. This one I'm going to ask you, in your humble opinions, what was the best Super Bowl game you ever saw?
Oh, the best Super Bowl game I ever saw. I got quite a few.
Yeah, but there have been some really competitive games. When I was, probably my teenage years, my younger years, junior high, early high school, the Super Bowl was a blowout every year. They weren't a lot of fun to watch. But over the course of the last 15 to 20 years, we've been spoiled with some really, really good games.
Yep. Some very good games. I'll tell you what ain't gonna make the cut. This mess we had last year. Good God.
That will not make the list. No.
No.
I'm hoping we have another really good one this year, something that gets us thrilled. Like we've had some real thrillers through the years here, and I hope we get something like that.
I think so, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Out of all the Super Bowls, that was the most boring.
It was a snoozer.
Yeah, snooze fest. And that's it for the Choices of the Voices. And guess what? We're moving on into home base, running around the corner. I'm trying not to trip. Also, my co-host, we're not trying to run into each other, looking like Three Stooges of baseball. We're not trying to have that. Speaking of the Three Stooges, I wound up watching that the other night, and I was very entertained. Very entertained. But that's
they're like us in black and white.
Yeah, yeah. So we just got to figure out who's Mo, who's Larry, who's Curly. Shemp, we ain't gonna talk about him. We're just gonna go with the original three. Mo, Larry, and Curly.
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
I guess JR will be Shemp.
Yeah, he'll be Shemp. Yeah, because he comes and goes from time to time. So All right, so here we go. We rounded in the home and we got Pepper. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, how you want to do it. And since I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I'll take the ball first. I got to warm it up for you guys. I'm gonna throw this one off the top of Miller Park without falling off the retractable roof. That's a beautiful park, by the way. When you see it from the freeway, oh, beautiful, beautiful. My first pepper point, I want to go out to Vince Carter. Why, you ask? Because Vince Carter has done a magnificent feat which shows us when you take care of yourself at a certain age and longevity, hey, don't crack on the old guys. The old guys can get it done. Because Vince Carter played 4 different decades. Drafted into the 90s, and then he played all through the 2000s, the 2010s, and as of right now, he still got a job. playing in the 2020s. Longevity, and what's the other thing that we decided Tom Brady was eating? Avocado ice cream?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that keeps you alive. Have you playing sports until you're damn near 50. And don't be surprised if we start seeing this trend. I guess field goal kickers aren't the only one that can play until they're damn near 60s. I mean 50s. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right. Be live. Bear with me here. I actually am going to need your help on this one. And this is not honestly not meant to pick a scab here. Monday, I watched the national championship game, and I honestly thought the best team of the year won. Clemson had a great run, but what bothered me a lot in that game, and it's something that I hope that the NCAA will consider changing, is the targeting ejection for a college player. What was your linebacker's name that got kicked out of the game the other night?
James Skalski.
Yeah. Now this kid in a split second had a decision to make a play and slightly led with his head. Now, you can walk around your house with a glass of water and sometimes you're going to spill it just because sometimes things happen. You might bump into something. You might stumble a little bit. When you're running around on a field that fast, sometimes you're going to take a weird angle. And at this point in time, I have a hard time believing that any of these kids out there on the field or even in the NFL are really, really meaning to intend to injure someone by leading with the crown of their helmet. There's too much knowledge now. Football players talk about being in a fraternity. I don't think they're out there to injure one another. If so, suspend them after maybe your second or third offense. But I hated seeing that kid get tossed out of the national championship game the same way I hated seeing the kid from Ohio State get ejected a few weeks before for targeting Trevor Lawrence. I don't think there's intent there. I know it's not the referee's job to determine intent, but I hate seeing a kid work so hard to get into a big time game like that and over a split second play have to leave the game. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I kind of felt for that kid from Clemson too, man. I was like, what does he be like? Is he a senior or is he coming back?
I believe he's either a junior or senior.
I don't think he was a senior because they didn't say much about him not being able to ever play again. And I think they would have made a bigger deal of it. I think he was a junior, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't like him having to leave the game. I think the call was correct. I don't have a problem with the call. I have a problem with the rule.
Yeah, he's a redshirt junior, so he's been there for 4 years.
Oh, okay.
But regardless, I don't like it. I don't think if you're a freshman you get kicked out of there. I just don't like that as an NCAA rule. I actually heard Scott Van Pelt talk about it too, and he's kind of on the same page as me. It's just not right.
That it ain't. And I appreciate that, and I agree with you on that thing. Right. And same thing with Ohio State as well, because those literally were two very defining moments in the game, and you can see where it shifted the entire focus of the game. It shifted dramatically. Will I sit here and say that Clemson beats Ohio State if they still have their defensive player in there? I don't know. It could easily went Ohio State's way. So it's tough for those judgment calls to come like that, and then for a player that not be able to play in the game for something. Targeting, yes, I get it. He did lead with the crown, but intent and that rule needs to be revisited over time.
That's it. Yep. All right. So the ball goes to be live.
All right, let me talk about something real quick, because college basketball. This is a two-parter, a little sprinkle of little habanero and jalapeno. Nobody wants to stay in the top 5.
They don't.
This was unprecedented this past week in college basketball. Did you realize that number 3 Duke lost twice?
Wow.
Last week. Number 4 Auburn lost twice last week, and number 5 Butler lost once last week. This was just last week. 7 days. We had top five losses. Are you kidding me? So the AP poll just came out yesterday, and Gonzaga is staying strong at number one. And someone snuck up in there that nobody's been talking about. And me and the cool one, the HOC, got a chance to be at their facilities a few months back. The only undefeated team in Division I basketball, San Diego State University.
SDSU.
They are now ranked number 3. And just a little side note, they decided to retire Kawhi Leonard's jersey at San Diego State. So that's a little side note as well. And so it's a lot of craziness going on in college basketball. And we will see as the time goes on, because we're only a month and a half away from March Madness, and that is just when.
Bring it on!
Oh,
bring it on!
I'm ready.
I love March Madness.
And I'll do my brackets this time, fellas. I promise.
Coming soon, the Sports Bros Podcast Bracket Challenge. Off the dome, fellas. You feeling it?
I'm feeling it.
We got to do it. All right, Eddy Kool, the ball.
All right, and on a somber note, in the squared circle, we lost another legend. We lost Soul Man Rocky Johnson. Why does that name sound familiar? Because that is the father of the only Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Rocky Johnson fell victim to a heart attack via a blood clot. So get yourself checked out if you can't get yourself checked out. Soul Man Rocky Johnson broke a bunch of color barriers in the early 70s and 80s, and him and Tony Atlas were the world tag team champions. As much as they despised each other outside the ring, inside the ring, they made history. So R.I.P. to one of the greats, Soul Man Rocky Johnson. Over to you, Scottie D.
Yeah, man, I loved him, watching him as a kid, doing those flying drop kicks. I knew of him before I knew of The Rock. He was a fun wrestler to watch. All right, so last week the Hall of Fame, the NFL Hall of Fame, decided to right some wrongs and add another, 10 extra players or 10 extra participants to the Hall of Fame. That they had the emotional moments on the air last week with Cower, and the one that really struck me was Jimmy Johnson. You know, those two got in early, and they said the other 13 announcements were going to come Wednesday morning. And Wednesday, I couldn't wait to see if Drew Pearson made the list, because I really thought he was going to, and he did not. Drew Pearson is the only member of the All-70s Decade team now not in the Hall of Fame. And, man, my heart broke when they showed him and his family sitting around the house waiting for the call, all decked out in their Cowboys gear, and they didn't get the call. That broke my heart. And Harold Carmichael of the Eagles made it, and I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, but if you look at Harold Carmichael's numbers and you look at Lynn Swan's numbers, you look at Drew Pearson's numbers, there's not a lot of difference in there. And Drew Pearson deserves to be in that Hall of Fame. And I hope that before it's too late, they get that one right, because that was he should have been in a long time ago, and I felt that was a travesty. So, anyway, over to you, Be Live.
All right, man. You seeing that Jimmy Johnson reveal? Who is cutting onions?
The big purple onions.
I was crying my eyes out when that happened.
Not even gonna lie to you. And I'm not a Cowboys fan, but that touched home, man. That was
also,
awesome.
You know what? Get you some friends like Terry Bradshaw. Get you some friends like Terry Bradshaw.
Right.
He was so happy for Jimmy.
The bums you got in your life, 8-6 them. Get you some friends like Terry Bradshaw.
That's amazing. All right, I'm gonna switch over to professional basketball, because we got a situation going on. It's been going on for a few years, but I think it's a little bit more egregious right now. As the standings sit right now, if the season ended today, there would be 3 teams with a record below 500 making the playoffs. Which is
Playoffs? Playoffs?
Right. Which I find just a little bit disturbing. And it goes really into the mindset almost of these teams building. They're building these quote unquote super teams, and this year's been the dynamic duos across the league or whatever like that. But I feel like with so much power going into the hands of the players and everything, and these ridiculous contracts and players picking where they choose and go and who they want to play with, you're leaving a lot of teams, and especially your small market teams, without the star power and the ability to compete. Like, just being honest, like some 10, 15 years ago, David Stern, God rest his soul, denied the trade that would have allowed Chris Paul to join Kobe Bryant in freaking LA. But now it's a thing. The teams and players are moving here, there, which way, and the third. And I think, honestly, the NBA is thriving, but I think it's suffering at the same time. Because, again, there's 3 teams that are in the playoffs that don't deserve to be. I think the talent should be spread out a little bit more. It's almost ridiculously how bad the Warriors have become.
Atrocious.
Can you believe that? Like, there's 3 top players all on the bench on the men somewhere.
Yeah, that's that.
And now they're literally the worst team in NBA.
Better than the Hawks.
Oh yeah,
better than the Cavs.
Yeah. Let me do some quickness real quick. Yeah, the Hawks are 10-33. The Warriors are 10-34. Yeah, the Warriors are the worst team in the NBA right now. What a difference!
How them Lakers doing?
They're on top of the world.
Yeah, exactly my point. In what world would you see LeBron James and Anthony Davis, 2 of the top 5 players in the game right now, on the same team?
Bizarro world.
So I mean, this is almost a curse of the Boston teams of the 2000s when they built their team. Then the Heat and LeBron, and then I mean, with Kevin Durant joining the 73-9 Warriors. I mean,
it's a bad trend.
Yeah.
So like right now, the Memphis Grizzlies at 20-22 would make the playoffs. The Orlando Magic at 20-23 would make the playoffs, and the Durantless Brooklyn Nets at 18-23, 5 games below 500, would make the playoffs if the season ended today.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? I think Memphis might do it. They just might. At this point, they just might, because they play in the West, right? Oh, it's fair game. Portland's horrible. They might do it. Sorry, Big Out, it's your pep segment. My bad. Go ahead.
That's all right. No, I'm good. I told you I keep the spice. I mean, you just got a taste of the pepper that I put out there, in the kitchen, wrist twisting like a stir fry. Eddy Kool, the ball.
All right. And my third and final pepper point is about me, my little ugly self. No, I'm joking. Like I said, I'm in the wonderful but cold city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It might be quiet because the Packers got handed that fresh L out there in Santa Clara last night. But it's not going to stop me and my wonderful girlfriend, Mercedes, from going to our first ever NBA basketball game, as the visiting Chicago Bulls will take on the Freak, Giannis and them, and the Milwaukee Bucks. I am excited. I know this show airs tomorrow, which is Tuesday, because as B-Live said, we record Monday for Tuesday. But you can best believe there will be some pictures and some videos on the Sports Bros Podcast Facebook like page. Matter of fact, I'm going to charge my phone up after this, dump some stuff that's not that has no space being on there, and I'm gonna get ready for tonight. So I'm going to my first basketball game. So that's another one off the list. So now I got a hockey game to go to. All right. And over to you, Scottie D.
Speaking of hockey, that was professionally done there, Mr. Kool.
Yes, sir.
I don't get a whole lot excited about hockey and NBA, really anything till football season winds down, and it's winding down now. And baby, don't look now, but the Pittsburgh Penguins are looking good. They are trailing only the Washington Capitals by 4 points. They're actually a point behind the Bruins, and on Sunday they rallied from down 3-0 to defeat the Bruins. That's the third time this year the Penguins have erased a 3-goal deficit. And don't look now. I think I already said that, but don't look now. But Sidney Crosby is back, and in 4 games, he has 3 goals and 8 points. And baby, look out. The bingo game is ready to roll. Pittsburgh Penguins back in contention. I'm loving it. Over to you, B-Live.
All right. I'm going to finish this off with a strong one real quick. I decided to put together a petition.
I signed it.
Because
me too.
We spoke before about the untimely retirement of one Luke Kuechly, and it hits me deep because like you've seen him do so much in such a short period of time, but you can clearly see, and that was another tearjerker. I don't know if you guys saw his video.
I saw it
of him. Oh my God! I'm telling you, them onions again. I'm telling you, I'm about sick of them. I'm throw away every onion.
It's the big purple ones.
Oh man, but yeah. So like, I was so moved and so touched about it, and I've thought about, man, we're doing. We got a lot of coaching changes, and then I looked it up. The Panthers do not have a linebackers coach as of right now, and just the amount of knowledge that Luke Kuechly has. I decided to start a petition. I went to change.org. Just something a little silly or whatever, but at the same note, it's actually gaining quite a bit of steam. As of right now, we're sitting at 2,025 signatures that people that agree to make Luke Kuechly the Carolina Panthers linebackers coach, which is wow. Like, I did not think that I would get that overwhelming amount of support. I put a little note together, wrote something, and just to have that many signatures and stuff like that. And so like that's amazing to me. And I really hope somehow, some way that not just making Luke Kuechly the coach, but just hoping that he sees the message from the fans of how much we love Luke.
Love him. Absolutely love him.
No doubt, man. So that's awesome. I just happened to check that out, and I just wanted to end on that note. So I appreciate everybody. I appreciate our listeners. I appreciate supporters, Carolina Panthers.
Keep
fans.
Pounding.
That's it. Keep pounding.
We love our Carolina Panthers.
Oh.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Who is the who is we? You know what?
Oh boy.
We got to put a ball on this show because Scottie D is losing his mind. It's something about cats and we and Scottie D. I don't get it.
Scottie D, I'm gonna start a petition for you since who is we. I'm gonna get a petition going to bring back Jason Garrett as the Cowboys.
Hey, why don't you start a petition for me to be the linebackers coach at Carolina, because I need a job and Kuechly's already got a pretty hefty checking account. So let's get me hired somewhere. How about it?
Hashtag get Scottie D a job.
Yeah. Right.
All right. With that being said, we done wrapped up another action-packed and epic edition of the Sports Bros podcast. But before we go, Scottie D, where can the folks reach you?
Come on down to Wild Wing Cafe on Wednesday night and see me. It's at 6:46 p.m. trivia night, and on Mondays I'm at Bowie. So booyah! Show up down there at 6:01 p.m. for some enlightening and entertaining trivia.
Have you some fun. Be live. Where can they? Let me see. How can I do this right? How can they get in contact with you? See what I did there, Scott? I didn't give them that gimme this time.
Why you gonna be switching up on me? And is this the first time I noticed that Scottie D, your start times are 6:46 and 6:01?
Yeah, that's usually how I list them when I put them on Facebook. Yeah.
I was like, so you just You just want to be just off kilter. Just you need an extra minute of the
It's
hour
it's
to
you know what
shut
it is,
up.
be like. It's an homage to WCW Saturday Night 605, 705.
Actually, if you think about it, if you think about it, what's going to stand out in your mind more, 646 or 645?
Hey,
Yeah,
okay,
I
okay,
like
good
it.
marketing by the money man.
There's a
Okay,
method to
all
my
right.
madness, boys.
The,
You're lucky to
You
have
ain't
me.
oh,
you ain't never lied about madness. You ain't never lied about
oh
madness.
yeah. I'm sorry. Where did he come from? Go ahead, be
I
like.
said, but you know where you can find me. You see how I'm switching back? You can find me in St.
And you'll
Louis.
be and you'll be down there freezing too. But go ahead.
Well, you can find me. I'll be doing the most at Max Speed Shop in Fayetteville here, 482 Norfolk Fishing Church Road, the home of the best brisket, barbecue, pulled pork, and the home of over 180 bottles of cans of beer, 57 beers on draft. We got all types of drink specials, new drink specials for 2020. Come see your boy. When it comes to the Sports Bros podcast, you can check us out on our Facebook like page at Sports Bros Podcast. You can check it out on Instagram and Twitter. On Instagram is Sports Bros Podcast. Twitter is Sports Bros PCast. For any comments, questions about the show, you can email us at sportsbrospcast@gmail.com. Check us out on our YouTube pages. We are our YouTube page. We're gonna load some more footage there for you. On Wednesdays, you can check me out with my What Happened Wednesday segment. I'll be coming to you live again this Wednesday with an extra special What Happened Wednesday, because what happened is that I'm picking out a tattoo.
Oh boy.
Yeah, see what your boy, the Almighty One, he wasn't so mighty in this fantasy football league, and see what see what yeah, just stay tuned. Wednesday, yeah, it's going down.
Ooh.
Yeah, whatever. Eddy Kool.
What your ass say? Oh man, okay, be like, I got you. We got it. And with that being said, I'm Eddy Kool, the head of creative, and I will not be getting any ink forced upon this body of mine unless I choose to. You can catch me here on Facebook at my Facebook profile, Eddy Kool. That's not my real government name, but you get the point. Also, you can catch me on the Facebook like page, facebook.com/sportsbros podcast, where I'll be having all kinds of stuff on there. The Instagram account as well, too. The Sports Bros podcast on Twitter, the Sports Bros PCast. And we got 1,000 other things working in the works too. I'll be back soon with the videos because I really miss doing them. Matter of fact, I might see, you know what? I'm off this Thursday. Oh, I might be able to sneak one out on Thursday. Will it be 3 things or tranquilo? Stick around, find out. Yep, that's how you can find me, Eddy Kool, everywhere. Sports Bros Podcast. And with that being said,
before you jump into that, let me also give a quick shout out to my boss man. I got to give a shout out to old Sammy Smokes. Yeah, he got me again.
He did it.
And the worst part about his parody What Happened videos is that he is taking quite a bit of time out of his personal and professional life to troll
Well
me.
done, sir. Well played.
Are y'all applauding?
Absolutely, yes.
You know what, Be-Li, the man puts in a lot of effort. You know, he from the looks of it, you know, he's married. He has a dog. He has a wife. He has a life. He has a job. But to take that little and there's multiple segments in multiple locations, I gotta applaud the effort.
I mean, we might have to give that dude a job.
I mean,
except we don't have one ourselves.
Yeah. How we gonna get somebody we ain't got?
He's my boss man. He gave me a job.
Yeah.
Nice.
he's not married. He's not married. It's his girlfriend.
Okay.
Melody, love you. She's awesome, by the way. Good friend. good friends. I'll consider her family. She's definitely looked out for me as well. Mom Dukes, Mama Sampson, their whole family is really looked
Good
out for
people,
me,
man. Good people.
And I still can't stand my boss man, but yeah, he put in a lot of effort. And then to all the other cohorts that have contributed to that video, got my man Ethan freaking singing, made up a song. When I tell you, when I watched it, I hollered. I said, "This dude has made a song about me losing. What is going on?"
It was well done video.
But it's all right. Nothing but love, and I appreciate the love. I really do, because it's I sort of deserve it because I do talk a lot of trash. But I mean, it is what it is. Love you, love you all.
And guys, remember, we all may have come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now.
Yeah, and also with that being said, do something nice for yourself, and if you can, do something nice for someone else. They're greatly appreciated. This is another action-packed episode of the Sports Bros Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Bye. Scott, you still mad at Jason Garrett? No, he hung the phone up.